All right, good morning. What's going on, everybody? Sorry for my tardiness. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Susan, good morning. Iris, Showboat Mango, Angela, Damon, missed you last night. Yes, sorry about that. No, there's no pattern other than I have a senior in high school. Things getting crazy with colleges. 46 days to the election. Good morning, Child of the King. Good morning, Mary McDonald on Facebook. Good morning. John on YouTube. Good morning. Wherever you're watching, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. We appreciate when you do. Good morning from Houston, Janine. Cynthia on Facebook. Good morning. Missed you last night. Thank you. Missed you as well. Carol on Facebook. Hello. Gareth on X. Good morning, people on X. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. How was everybody's night? How was the show last night? I didn't get to see much of it. I know Vinnie Mac was in studio with the Ricks. I'm sure everything was fantastic. I know Aaron's happy this morning. We had a text thread going this morning. Rick Delgado, of course, the culprit, trying to crash on Aaron's party with the Jets. And none of us were going to allow that to happen because Delgado is a jealous Giants fan who are maybe going to lose every game of the season. John says Vinny is the best. Yes, Vinny is very good. Delgado was trying to crash on Aaron's party on the Jets last night, so we weren't going to let him as a jealous Giants fan that he is. So he was just full of rage this morning on the text chain, and because his Giants suck. And well, who did Aaron and did I'm sure Aaron picked obviously the Jets. Did yes, exactly, Cynthia. Delgado's such a stinker. See, so he's just always, let's get Vinny on more often. I'm sure they did. Did they do the odds makers last night? I'm sure Aaron picked the Jets. Did Slick pick the Jets as well? Does anybody know? Can't imagine he picked the Patriots after watching them. And Slick took the Pats? Is that true? Is that true? Slick took the Pats? Really? I'm shocked by that. I would have figured they would have been together. Wow, he took the Pats. Everybody's saying yes, he took the Pats. Wow. I wonder what he saw there. The Patriots look terrible in week 2. I don't think this new coach is for long in that organization. I don't think Mr. Kraft's going to let that go for too long. Morning, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Hit the like, subscribe wherever you are. Markets are open. Dow's down 143. S&P down 24. NASDAQ down 74. Russell down 16. We talked a little bit about the direction we think the markets will go. Excuse me. It may take some time. Obviously, markets rallied yesterday. Crypto markets rallied yesterday. Crypto's still rallying somewhat. Bitcoin's now down a little bit. Although the way CNBC does their, Bitcoin's down a little bit. Ethereum still up 51 on the day. 25.17 right now. XRP, I don't know why anybody would care. It's been the same price for like 10 years. Litecoin, I don't know why anyone would care. Bitcoin Cash, not sure. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to the markets. We've looked historically at what happens after rate cuts. And it's usually profit-taking, and it's usually a little bit of a pullback. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that through quarter 4, October, November, and December, if we see more sideways and down as we try to get a clearer picture on what the Fed's going to do as far as cuts going forward, what happens with inflation, does inflation tick back up, Continuing claims yesterday after the Fed rate cut on Wednesday. Well, you could almost make the case of saying to the Fed, why are you cutting? Job market still looks to be strong. Continuing claims came in underneath where they expected by, I think, around 11,000. So it's an interesting, very interesting time, a tightrope that the Fed is trying to walk here. So we'll see where the market goes. But that's where your markets are as of this morning. But what I wanted to focus on this morning was a couple things. This isn't just the news. We talk about Trump and what's happened to him in the last 60 days here in Butler, Ohio, and then on this golf course. Well, Matt Gaetz, and we've been discussing what happens from here, and nobody with any common sense could say that the targeting of the former president is now going to stop. I heard somebody on TV yesterday say, "Oh, they'll never get close to him now," and I think it's impossible to say that. Congressman Gaetz, Homeland whistleblower, claims that there's 5 assassin teams hunting Trump. 5 teams that we know are targeting Trump, he clarified. Matt Gaetz said Thursday that a senior Homeland Security Department official approached him as a whistleblower shortly before the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, and alleged U.S. officials are aware that 5 different assassination teams are pursuing the former president. Gaetz told Just the News editor-in-chief John Solomon during an interview on the Human Events Daily television show on Real America's Voice Network that he believes 3 of the teams are foreign-inspired and 2 are domestic-based. And you want to bring full circle what happens when you leave the border open for 3.5 years to anybody and everybody who wants to come across. This is the end result of that. They just waltz right in. Trump was the subject of a second assassination attempt last weekend while golfing in Palm Beach. Secret Service engaged with an armed suspect after one agent noticed the barrel of an AK-47 protruding from the bushes where he was hiding. I had a senior official, here's the important paragraph. I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that he has assessed that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams, Gaetz said on Human Events Daily. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to the second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be, and the coordination at that level, at the dignitary protection level, is like the bare minimum that we have to do to keep our presidents, our presidential candidates, safe while they're on the trail. 5 teams that we know are targeting Trump. And so that raises real questions about why certain teams are being pulled off the Trump detail and put on, for example, the Jill Biden detail. Now, we don't want anything bad to happen to Jill Biden or anyone else for that matter, of course. But at the same time, the threat envelope for her was substantially different than the threat envelope for a President Trump. And it would not have necessitated pulling assets away from the Trump detail for the Joe Biden detail or the John Bolton detail, or any other details that were beefed up at the same time. The requests from the Trump detail and from Trump campaign for more security were going unanswered, frankly, he said. U.S. authorities have charged a Pakistani man with working with Iran to attempt to hire a gunman. Now, well, the Iran threat we've all known about. The government's known about it. And you think about a whistleblower like this coming forward to somebody like Gaetz because he feels like, I guess that's the only place he can go, who works inside, I'm assuming, Think about what it takes for somebody like that to come forward just on a most basic level. It's got to be pretty scary. You know, we think of everybody within this government as probably having Trump derangement syndrome, but clearly there was at least one person who thought there's no coming back if they're able to take him out. So let me go to somebody I trust and tell them exactly what's going on. Now, I mean, I wonder if Congressman Gates and others have been briefed on these things in private settings. I don't know if he says that, but obviously this is a whistleblower that came to him to give him these details. Several Senate and House members who have been briefed on the 2 assassination attempts that we know of told Just the News on Thursday afternoon they have not been told during their briefings about 5 teams or plots that they are aware. Well, there it goes. There's my answer. So they were not briefed on this. So Gates, I'm assuming, did not know about this until the whistleblower came forward. So think about what this whistleblower, and wherever he works and whatever he has access to, must know or must have seen or heard. I don't know who he is and what kind of meetings he sits in on. To have to go to a sitting U.S. congressman, and tell him, hey, this is excuse me. This is serious, and they're not. You know, he doesn't have the protection he needs. Now, he may very well have it now. At this point, Trump should have exactly the same coverage as if he was the sitting president. I know after the second attempt in Florida, we heard I don't know if it was the chief of police down there, whoever that guy was, say, well, I mean, he's not the sitting president. Well, at this point, there should be no difference between Biden, Harris, and Trump's detail, you would have to figure at this point. One senior law enforcement officials and one intelligence official, both speaking on the condition of anonymity, confirmed to Just the News that U.S. authorities have been aware of multiple plots tied to Iran or other terrorists seeking to assassinate current or former U.S. officials. The intelligence spans several years and has led to significantly enhanced protections for figures like Trump, Bush, Pompeo, Bolton, O'Brien. Most, the sources said, involved retribution for the assassination of top Iranian general. So that obviously is extremely concerning. And it's also concerning because, as Dan Bongino has laid out, the 2 attempts that we've now lived through separate the men on the ground with Trump and the people sitting up in the offices in New York, in Washington, D.C. Both look like epic failures, even though separate the guys on the ground who acted heroically and were well enough trained to catch this guy hiding in the bushes for 12 hours and was able to spot him. And the lady who took the pic, I mean, it all, thankfully it all worked out this time. But how many times will we be able to say it worked out? You think about both of these times. You're talking about one time, kid gets on the roof, fires off 8-9 shots, misses the president's head. I mean, without divine intervention, he's not looking that way. The whole thing. And this time, this guy is able to camp out for hours with an AK-47 in the bushes on the line of the golf course. And thankfully, the team that's ahead of him, this guy is able to spot this and obviously engage with the guy, and he runs off and get a picture from some good Samaritan and finally capture this guy. But I mean, you talk about, a cat having 9 lives. I mean, how many of these are we going to be able to look back and go, oh man, that was, whew, just by the skin of our teeth here. We can't, there can be no more skin of our teeth. So I don't know how we get an update from this on what's happening here. We'll see if Gates has anything on his. Here's the
And I'll break a little news for you. I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be. And the coordination at that level, at the dignitary protection level, is like the bare minimum that we have to do to keep our presidents, our presidential candidates safe while they're on the trail.
So there are 5, I just want to follow up, 5 assassination teams. Are they all targeting Trump? Is it other officials?
Yes. No, wow. I should have been clear about that. 5 teams that we know are targeting Trump. And so that raises real questions about why certain teams were being pulled off of the Trump detail and put on, for example, the Jill Biden detail. Now, we don't want anything bad to happen to Jill Biden, but at the same time, the threat envelope for her was substantially different than the threat envelope around President Trump, and it would not have necessitated pulling assets away from the Trump detail for the Jill Biden detail or the John Bolton detail or any other details that were beefed up. At the same time, the requests from the Trump detail and from the Trump campaign for more security were going unanswered.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Just want to see what Bongino. I didn't get a chance because I was tied up yesterday. I didn't get a chance to see.
Now they have pledged to carry out the largest deportation, a mass deportation in American history. Imagine what that would look like and what that would be.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Now.
The ads write themselves when it comes to her, doesn't it? The ads absolutely write themselves. Huh.
Facts.
To prevent ISP, Fox News Channel, I follow him a lot. He knows the mechanics in and out of up on Capitol Hill, and he gets a lot of comments others don't get. Here's Chad. You know Dick Blumenthal, Tricky Dick? You know the guy who makes up all the stories about his heroic service in combat and all that other stuff? Guy's obviously a piece of garbage, but he said something that made sense. He said, Blumenthal on the Secret Service, this issue's not about money. Holy shit, a Democrat. Did you guys hear it?
Yeah, well, and exactly. We said this the other day. I mean, how can it be resources? We heard this all that's first days after this thing. Oh, it's a resources. President Biden is stumbling out to the microphones. Resources. What do you mean it's resources? We can spend money on every damn thing that there is. Resources is the problem. I read a commercial every night from Birch Gold about there's $1 trillion unspent COVID money. There's all kinds of boondoggle money laying around, and we can't get the Secret Service to get the people around the former president and possibly future president of the United States to guard them correctly. It's resources. I mean, that's such a horseshit line. It always has been. It's such nonsense. I mean, anybody that lives in this country who's ever, I mean, what other topic ever have we heard that it's a money problem? So the one thing that nothing ever is in this country, the way we spend, the way this government spends, this bloated, iron-fisted, top-down government is spending. Look at the Republicans again right now. What are they doing? Playing this drama theater thing out with the SAVE Act, which, by the way, already passed the House as standalone legislation. Now they're playing this nonsense game where they're trying to get it into this to the CR to say that they at least got something for, more spending. And of course, we couldn't even get that done, which was all theater to start with because the SAVE Act has already passed the House and should have gone to the Senate. But the Republicans are so absolutely pathetic. And I've said this since I started this show, and I'm a broken record about it, and it never changes. No matter who the Speaker of the House was, whether it was Pelosi, whether it was one of our guys, whether it was Paul Ryan, whether it's now Johnson, whatever it was, the Republicans get their ass kicked around or every single time, mostly by Schumer and Pelosi, when it came to spending, when it came to the budget, when it came to the CRs, they always caved. They got nothing for it. And now, so this attempt, they try this weak attempt to say, oh, we're going to attach the SAVE Act. And then we're going to get, we're going to get cuts and all this for what as I tweeted out a couple days ago, we could only wish that the Republicans had the you-know-whats to actually see that through. And, of course, we don't even have the votes to see it through, and we didn't have the votes. And what are they doing right now? They're going to cave once again on basically a clean CR that keeps spending where it is, keeps Pelosi Biden-level spending. I mean, Johnson's so in over his head. We talked about it the first day he took the speakership when he walked through the rotunda and someone asked him about money for Ukraine. He said, oh, yeah, it's top of the list. And I thought, okay, well, this is a problem already. And he's been a disaster since then. Disaster since then. But no, people thought he was great at the time. Oh, no, he's going to be great. Oh, we got rid of McCarthy. At least McCarthy didn't want to send money to Ukraine. But that's neither here nor there at this point. But this whole argument that this is a resource problem when it comes to Trump is just absurd.
A Democrat said something isn't about money, taxpayer money, for the first time, like in the history of ever time. He says the issue is not about money. It's about management, using resources productively and effectively. And the lapses and failures that will be documented in our report will go to the mismanagement that led to the abject failure to protect the president properly. Holy moly, dude, what? Wait, am I aging myself? Elizabeth, get me the nitroglycerin pill. Someone give me a baby aspirin. I mean, my heart is having a coronary event. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Dick Blumenthal, who will say anything to anyone at any time to steal more of your money and spend it with the United States government and cover for government inadequacies, has two gems in one quote, that this is a mismanagement issue and it's not about the money. That is freaking amazing. Sounds like something this guy told you. What did I say? I told you guys, this has nothing to do with money. The Secret Service budget, since I was there in 1999, aging myself, in real dollars, adjusted for inflation, has doubled from $1.5 billion to $3.3 billion. It's more than doubled. This is not a money issue. When he's talking about mismanagement, it's what I told you. Your boy here with his two thumbs right here, this guy, told you a long time ago. Half of their agents and more than half of their money is being pissed down a toilet bowl to go investigate financial crimes that the FBI does. We don't need a new government agency. You don't need more money. Matter of fact, you probably need less money. Take half of the Secret Service budget, go give it to these agencies or give it back to the taxpayer investigating financial crimes, and tell the Secret Service now, hey, the money you spend on investigations, there you go, it's gone. Now you guys can focus on protection.
Yeah, I mean, and he's absolutely right. This is it's just laughable, laughable that anything in this country would be deemed, well, we don't have the dollars. When is that rule ever applied to anything? It doesn't apply to the Green New scam. It doesn't apply to government spending. It doesn't apply to infrastructure. It doesn't apply to the Inflation Reduction Act. It doesn't apply to anything. Does anyone remember a time where any government official, Republican or Democrat, ever said, well, we don't have the money? Oh, this is a resource problem. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, we shouldn't spend that. Those are not terms that come out of the mouths of any of these elected officials. They spend like drunken Marxists no matter what the debt is. Their credit card has no limit. It's unlimited forever. So, all right, couple other things I want to cover. These articles have gone quietly under the radar, no pun intended, under the satellite radar. And there's been a bunch of them in the last couple days. And as we sit here and talk about all these other places around the world that may be targeting Trump, that are on the move, I feel like people lose sight of our number one enemy, and that, of course, is China. And China is on the move in many ways. In more ways than one, they're on the move. They're on the move in the South Pacific. They're on the move building these islands. And they're on the move preparing for war with us. And there has been 3 different things that have come out here in the last couple days. And I've been meaning to get to this one on the show at night, but I never seem to be able to get to it. So we'll get to it here. China adds hundreds of satellites for use in war. Russia building nuke to destroy enemy assets. I just want you to read just to see a little bit of this. China's military is rapidly building up space capabilities, including more than 970 recently deployed satellites that would support attacks on U.S. aircraft carriers, air wings, expeditionary forces during a conflict, a Space Force intelligence report says. And of course, who can we thank for Space Force and who was ridiculed when the idea was even floated? People thought Space Force, what do you mean, Star Wars? Well, that, of course, is President Trump, who saw this coming, who understood what the threats were from around the world. And you can't say you have the same level of confidence with the administration now. And of course, this is why all of our enemies are on the move. The intelligence report reveals that Russia is also building a nuclear space weapon capable of triggering large-scale blasts that could destroy U.S. and other satellites. China's military deployments include 20 satellites launched from March through June, according to the unclassified space threat fact sheet. The satellites are designed to enable long-range precision strikes against the U.S. and allied forces. So what is our government doing about this? Are they aware of it? They're certainly not talking to us about it. Is the State Department talking about this? Who's talking about this? Is anybody aware that this is happening? Are we just allowing it to happen? The People's Liberation Army, China's military, can use anti-satellite missiles, electronic jammers, robot grappling satellites, and an orbiting space plane to attack and disrupt space-based information systems of the U.S. and other militaries. Intelligence suggests the PLA likely sees counter-space operations as a means to deter and counter U.S. military intervention in a regional conflict. The intelligence report was released amid increasing concern over China's war preparations. And folks, as much as I want to believe, and I do believe, that we are still the foremost country when it comes to preparation and utility and equipment and minds and thinking in dealing with someone like China, if we were, God forbid, ever have to get into a real conflict with them or anyone else around the world, it's not about the men and women and the equipment and the this and the that. It's about the people who are in charge right now. I mean, our enemies are on the move, and who the hell knows what we're doing or even paying attention to as we're letting spy balloons float across the country, seemingly not too concerned about it. The intelligence report was released amid increasing concerns over China's war preparations. On Monday, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall warned of the growing potential for conflict with China. I am not saying war in the Pacific is imminent or inevitable. It is not, Mr. Kendall said at a conference hosted by the Air Space Forces Association, but I'm saying that the likelihood is increasing and will continue to do so. China is increasing its space order of battle along with its counter-air capabilities. And of course, everything China does is in preparation to deal with us, nobody else. Us. It is solely focused on us. Space Force Headquarters Intelligence Unit produced a report which is dated July 17th. So that's number one. Number two, China is trying to isolate and threatening to invade Taiwan. And the only question is, why would they not be? Given what they've seen Russia do, given what they've seen this government do, given what they see going on at the top levels of government, given what they've seen happening, what we've allowed to happen in all over the world, what we've allowed to happen at our border, what we've allowed to happen in other places, what we've allowed to happen to so-called friends of ours around the world, given the comments we've seen from Antony Blinken when it comes to Taiwan, why would they not? Communist Party rule mainland China is outspoken about its desire to take control of the democratically elected government of Taiwan, a key partner of the U.S. Well, we think a key partner. We think a key partner. And a technological powerhouse. Of course, people overlook that part of it when it comes to chips and other things that the U.S. relies upon and what would happen if China was to make a move like this. So that's number two. And again, why not be on the move here while you can with this administration? You know, I pointed this out the other night when Trump said something about the cars and the tariffs and the 200, we'll put 200%, we'll make it worthless, impossible for you to sell. And then he said, this is why I get shot at. He said, leaders around the world listen to me and they go, this guy. Well, I mean, he's exactly right. And they're all thinking, well, let's get it in while we can here, boys. Not to dumb it down to the most basic level, but that's kind of where I operate. If you're some thug around the world, number one, you're hoping she wins without a doubt. But you're also thinking, well, if he's going to win, we might as well make our moves while we can. So that's number two. And this is number three. It may be the most disturbing. Chinese spies are lurking in and around the offices of our elected leaders. And you know, we've talked about the Biden administration when it comes to Iran. And this guy, it's not Robert, is it Robert O'Malley? I forget the guy. But we've been talking about how Iran is, without a doubt, penetrated into the Biden administration and the State Department. I can't think, is it Robert O'Malley? I don't think it's O'Malley. But I forget the guy's name. But what about China? We know about Dianne Feinstein. She's example number one. What's happened to her over the years? Or she had a Chinese driver probably filming and recording everything she ever said in the damn car. Every phone call she was ever on, she had no idea. We know about Swalwell. We know about others. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, some of these people, as they don't even know. So that it's not hard to imagine how many don't know still. And now you see what happened in New York with the New York governor's aide. Chinese espionage and influence from the governor's office here in New York. If this case against this woman in the governor's office is true, it's the very definition of counterintelligence insider threat. Well, how many of those are there? You think this is solely restricted to the governor's office? And again, it's not necessarily just this as a sole article, but you take this article with this article with this article and everything else going on, and it starts to stack up like it's a coordinated effort on all fronts. And are we paying close enough attention? as we head into an election. And again, they talk about Swalwell, talk about China is flooding the zone in the U.S. with a wide spectrum of espionage operations, of which the Fang and Sung cases are two publicly exposed examples. For example, China has employed its Thousand Talents program to target and recruit sources in the U.S. Besides the fact what they've done on college campuses and probably professors and so-called students and others, they've worked their way into, I'm sure, all the high levels. What they've, Robert Malley, thank you, Sean, Robert Malley. What they've done at colleges, what they've done at an administration level, what they've probably done in a lot of businesses. Technology, we know the technology they steal. We know the patents they go after. I mean, it's just, when you think about a coordinated effort, and then you look at articles like this, 3 of which come out in all this week, and then you look at this administration, and you look at what is going on. This guy's at the beach. Who's in charge? Who's making the decisions? Who's paying attention to all this stuff? Is anybody? Crazy, crazy times. So, crazy, crazy times. Speaking of crazy, I mean, one last thing. I mean, this was so crazy, did you guys see this? Trump supporters apparently attacked at rally with clandestine weapon? What? And I mean, I only take this because it's in one of my favorite places, which is the American Thinker, which is certainly not known for Test. Everybody still got me? I don't know what happened there. I think I lost the internet for a second. Just let me know that you can still hear me. Let me know that you can still hear me. I don't know, we had a power surge there or what. But yes, everybody can. All right, great. Let me just put this back up. Yeah, I mean, so this comes from the American Thinker, which is one of my favorite places. And Trump supporters apparently attacked at rally with clandestine weapon. At least 20 Trump supporters may have been attacked covertly by chemicals or a high-powered laser at a Trump rally in Tucson on September 12th. Some victims suffered severe burns. Many were temporarily blinded, with symptoms lasting until today. Others may have been affected, but have not yet to be identified. The fact that all those known to have been affected were sitting on the stage immediately adjacent to President Trump is important in understanding the significance of what happened. Did anyone hear about this up until just hearing me talk about this now? No, the bomb threat at Long Island was, at least as of now, we believe was a false report. I'm not quick to say it was wrong, because at this point you can't really. Okay, so people have heard about this. The victims were all part of a Latinos for Trump group on the stage. President Trump shook hands with them as he walked to the podium, but what they believed was their good fortune soon turned into a nightmare when severe symptoms began to strike 30 minutes after the rally. Pastor Eli Moreno and his wife were among the first victims. They began to develop symptoms on their drive home. Her face began to swell, her vision blurred, her sinuses started to run uncontrollably. When they stopped at a local drugstore for relief, they found other rally goers with the same symptoms. Experts believe the symptoms resulted from either a chemical agent or more likely from a high-powered infrared laser attack. I mean, this is like wild. Political and law enforcement insiders believe what happened was a warning. One warning could be, this is what happens to people who support Donald Trump. Another frightening warning could be, we purposely aimed at just one stage area 8 feet away from the former president. We could have easily attacked Trump. Currently, there's no specific determination as to what caused the attack. There's only informed opinion. I mean, am I crazy in thinking this is... I mean, this is... I don't even know what to think of this. This is like... I mean, who's looking into this? How do they get to the bottom of this? This is like... I mean, you know, targeting Trump, an assassin targeted him, and then a guy got caught in the bushes. That's pretty clear, like right in front of your eyes. I mean, am I crazy to think that this is... How is this not considered another attempt? Like, I haven't heard this framed as another attempt, but this is... This seems like... I mean, how do you protect against this one? If it happened right there with all the agents inside... No one knew about it till they left a half an hour later? What if they had targeted Trump? And how do they get to the bottom of this? Boy, oh boy, that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, folks, so that's basically what I wanted to go over. See if there's any, let's get to your comments, any question and answers here. Democrats are getting desperate. By the way, that's in the American Thinker. And I'm gonna actually go share that. Let me go, I don't think I've shared this. Let me share it right now. And if you want to reshare it, go to our X at LFS6B. Let me do that. Let me do this here. Okay. All right, shared. All right, let's see what else is going on. Gavin Newsom says he can't rule out taking legal action against Elon Musk and a conservative memer for posting memes about him because it hurts democracy. Oh my God. Let's go to Rasmussen and see what their overnight was, as a matter of fact. All right, let's take a look here. All right, so here's the last since September started. Here's where Rasmussen has the race. Started the month. Trump down one. September 3rd, Trump jumps to +6. Then he jumps back +1 in one day. It went from +6 to +1. Then +6, +3, even, 5, 0, +6, -6. September 12th to 15th over the weekend, he went from +6 to -6. Then he went back to +6 on Tuesday the 16th. Wednesday the 17th, or actually today's Friday. So Tuesday, +2, +8, +5. So they have Trump +5 right now. Scientists have captured Earth's climate over the last 485 million years. Here's the surprising place we stand now. Of course. Of course. But don't worry. We have billions of dollars to throw at this. But we don't have any money to protect the president. It's a resource problem, don't you know? But we have alarming things in the climate we need to adjust. Look at this map. Here's where we are now. Ask one of the green lunatics to try to explain that chart. Good luck.
Hi. So I have a young daughter. I have two daughters, actually. Sure. And one of my daughter is younger. So I want to talk about the crime a little bit.
Sure.
Personal crime. So she's been followed around Walmart. She's been stalked. She ran to her car, threw her stuff down, ran to her car. She was chased. Okay? They were immigrants. She was chased by a man with a machete on her way to work. Called the police. She told them what had happened.
Chased by a man with a machete.
2 hours later, the police still had not called her back and never checked on the crime. So that's how you know there's no crime in Springfield, because no one's reporting it.
That was your daughter. So I guess, does she have any sense for whether those were illegal immigrants into the country? I mean, she probably wasn't conversing with them while they're chasing her with a machete, but okay, readily identified. See, here's the thing, and it's uncomfortable to say this, but it's true. If your first act of entering the country breaks the law, then you're more likely to break the law when you're already here, right? And this is...
Well, isn't that the truth? Josh Hammer with a great question, of course, this morning. Why are the nut jobs trying to kill political opponents all left-wingers? I'll have to take a look at that. Later. We've got to have Josh back on the show. He's great.
For those who may criticize and say, well, she hasn't done that her 3.5 years in office as vice president, do you think that's unfair?
Yeah, she's the vice president, not the president. So, the vice president is there as part of the administration, not leading the administration. So as president, she's going to be able to put forth her policies and plans and effectuate those.
For those who may criticize.
Isn't it amazing when it comes to the Democrats, the vice president, and now in this situation doesn't matter. But when it was Mike Pence or it's now J.D. Vance, all this attention they have. But when it comes to her now, it's no.
I think he's going to continue to stay very focused on reaching out to voters, not taking a single person for granted, and talking to them about the issues that they care about most, that impact their everyday lives the most. This is such a unique situation that we all find ourselves in, where we have two people running for president who actually have a record. So it's not just about, are these empty campaign promises? Voters will actually be able to compare the record of President Trump through his first term in the White House and the last 4 years under Vice President Harris and Joe Biden. And there are very clear contrasts between them on almost every single major issue that Americans are concerned about, whether we're talking about the economy and the cost of living, something that was drastically lower for most Americans under President Trump than what they've experienced over the last 4 years. We look at border security, we look at crime, we look at domestic policy and foreign policy. In each of these areas, President Trump will continue to share with voters his record of success and remind them about how overall the quality of life for the American people was much better under him and why he looks forward to coming back into office to improve their quality of life once again.
You helped prep for the first debate. Do you think a second debate where, I heard from some advisors and allies who thought he did not do a good enough job drawing that contrast the first time. Do you think a second debate where maybe he did that more would be helpful to him when we look at these numbers?
Yeah, Caitlin, I think the numbers that you just showed, people's opinions on the debate versus how they're actually going to vote, that the race is still very close, kind of just illustrates, frankly, how these debates have become nothing more than political theater that political pundits like to focus on and talk about a lot. And a lot of.
I just noticed this. We've been talking about this for a while. So Nate Silver over at 538. Well, what do you know? All of a sudden, whoops, now he's flipped it. Now, after Trump has this is what drives people crazy and why we just say you can't trust any of this. He had Trump consistently going up and up and up. I think he had him at one point 63% to, let me go to his page and see if there's a history. Yeah, okay, so here, I think this is... he had Trump 63 or something percent. Now he's got Harris 51.1%, Trump 48.6. So an absolute total flip-flop from where he has been consistently showing Trump going up and up and up. And now all of a sudden, I'm trying to see here on his page where... it's hard to find. But all of a sudden now he's flipped. Which makes, of course, no sense. Virginia precinct on the first day of early voting. Wonder how many of those are Republicans that want to get out early voting. What do we think? I'd say by the looks of it, not many. So, all right, folks. We'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. Wherever you're watching, make sure you hit, what poll is that? That's Nate Silver's 538. Vegas polls are more accurate. That's before we leave, that's a good point. We always say that. Let's go to Polymarket and see where the money is. Polymarket. Let's go. Presidential election winner. Well, where should we go next? And of course, this all changed. This all started to flip. These numbers flipped on debate night. This has got almost $1 billion bet. $964 million bet right up here. You can see the number. Harris 51, Trump 48. Other Republican politician, 1%. Yeah, well, that's because they think maybe they'll get to him one of these times. 51.48 in the betting markets right now. And of course, again, Trump was up pretty significantly, 6-7 points in poly market before the debate. You look at the popular vote, 77-23, which is, again, it's no surprise. Balance of power. The chances of the Dems getting all three is in the lead at 30%. Republican sweeping is at 28. Democrat sweeping is at 22. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Democrat winning the White House, Republicans winning the Senate, Democrats winning the House is actually what's in the lead right now at 30%. Then Republicans sweep second, Democrats sweep third at 22. Electoral College margin of victory in the presidential election. Not even sure how to read that one. Well, we should probably talk about this too. Not necessarily this, but what's going on in North Carolina with Mark Robinson. And everybody jumping off to Mark Robinson. I mean, alls I see this morning, Mark Robinson should have never been the nominee. Mark Robinson was a terrible candidate. Mark Robinson this, Mark Robinson that. This is all I see.
Hey guys, Lieutenant Governor Robinson and your Republican nominee for governor as well, of course. Well, guys, the news media is at it again. My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will. God bless you. And we will see you where? On the campaign trail.
So, seeing a lot of things like this today. Here's the inconvenient truth. There was little interest on the right in vetting Mark Robinson because he's black. Too much of the right, particularly white boomers who dominate our primaries, is generationally stung by being smeared as racist by their enemies that will always hate them no matter. The desire to prove something to our enemies that will never accept any proof for regardless is one of the driving impulses on the right. For example, one of the surest ways to make an instant living on the right is to be willing to say based right-wing things while not being white, whether you believe them or anything or not, whether you're a moron or not, whether you're a grifter or not. There was never going to be any appetite in this primary to vet Robinson out of a fear of being called a racist from the right. Furthermore, many white GOP primary voters would have just ignored it anyways, because the desire to anoint the great black hope who can finally prove we haven't been racist all these years is a hell of a drug. And I guess what I don't understand is, like, was there a lot of reservation on Robinson going in before this? And has anyone given credence to this story on CNN that this guy was, I don't even know what the story is, that he was making comments on some lewd website, whatever. But I was just kind of surprised to see the dumping on Robinson, like he should have never been the candidate. He never should have been this. And too late now. They dropped this story on CNN the day that the ballots are going out, so it's too late to get him off the ballot. Supposedly the Trump campaign was urging him to get off the ballot all of a sudden yesterday, or whenever the story dropped this week, 2 days ago. And it was too late. But if they had gotten their ways, they would have liked him to drop out. I mean, again, maybe I'm behind the eight ball here. Are we just taking the CNN story at its word that it's correct? I haven't. I mean, has there been some corroboration of the story? Why is everybody throwing him under the bus so quickly? He wants to get rid of him. Was there another candidate in? Maybe there was. Was there a more conservative candidate in North Carolina that people wanted over Robinson? I always liked Robinson when I heard him talk, but boy, I'm surprised the dumping on him today is like pretty extreme. But maybe there's something about the story I don't know. Is there a follow-up to the story? I don't know if anybody knows, but I don't know how you take CNN's at their word. Donnie says, I live in North Carolina. I like Mar Robinson to a certain point. He has a zero tolerance for abortion. I don't believe the Supreme Court kicked it back to the states to be zero tolerance. I believe the Supreme Court kicked it back to the states to be voted on. Not one individual was zero tolerance, but a state referendum on abortion. I believe that's what the Supreme Court was saying when it struck down Roe versus Wade, and I think Mark Robinson is way too extreme. Well, I mean, and that's why voters get to vote on things like that. If you think he's extreme, maybe your neighbor doesn't. I don't think anyone can argue with, again, even in Florida, the heartbeat bill that was up for debate was 6 weeks. And I think the governor of Florida said the only thing wrong with the 6 weeks bill is the 6 weeks. Because if you believe life begins at conception, then the 6 weeks would be a problem. And obviously that's where Mark Robinson, I guess, on abortion lies, that there's 0 weeks that should be allowed. But again, those are things that voters can vote on. I mean, look at where President Trump is. He's clearly moved the left on abortion. And I think a lot of it has to do with the political nature of it. For a lot of people, the issue is not political, though. It's a clear case of black and white. Now, political, I guess, is imminent story about Mark Robinson is of sexual nature, Politico reporter. Mark Robinson, Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina, cancels campaign events today with big story set to drop. Well, should we go to Politico and see? Has this story dropped, in fact? I would say no, because I would think it would be right here. Maybe this is it? No, this is from yesterday. Email address belonging to Mark Robinson found on Ashley Madison. Who's Ashley Madison? An email address belonging to North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson was registered on Ashley Madison, a website designed for married people seeking affairs. A website for married people seeking affairs. We have a website for that? Okay. An advisor to Robinson, granted anonymity to speak freely, confirmed to Politico that the email address in question belongs to Robinson. Spokesperson for Robinson said he had not made an account on Ashley Madison. The discovery of Robinson's personal email address on Ashley Madison came as Republicans in North Carolina on Thursday cringed after CNN uncovered old posts purportedly made by Robinson on online pornographic forums. And as his chances of winning the governor's race appear increasingly grim, Robinson recorded an interview with CNN set to air Thursday evening denying allegations. On Thursday, CNN reported that Robinson, whom former President Trump endorsed, had once posted comments on a porn website called Nude Africa, listing on the website his full name and email address he was known to use for years, the same one that Politico found was registered on Ashley Madison. Yeah, I think at that point I'm starting to go, really? A guy, like, what was it like? I mean, does anyone, what was the email? Are they going to tell us it was like Mark Robinson NC at yahoo.com? Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm so skeptical of these things when the fact pattern is like, how stupid do you have to be? Like, oh yeah, we found it. He used M. Robinson NC. Maybe I'll be governor.com. I mean, like, how stupid do you have to be sometimes? Oh, and you use the same one here and you use the same one there. And it's like, you know, your 4-year-old could put this together. It's so obvious. Yeah, I start to wonder at some point. I start to wonder. Damon, you haven't heard about the scandal about Ashley Madison. Well, you mean the one we're talking about right now? %, Damon, but the fact you're talking about it is enough? I don't understand what you mean. Talking about, well, we're not supposed to talk about it? Damon, it's CNN. Yes, I get it. That's my point of what I'm saying. Yeah, it seems like a scam, quite frankly. It seems like nonsense. Oh yeah, we found them, boy. Yep. Oh yeah, same email, same name. He used his real name. He put a picture of himself up, believe it or not. I mean, I don't know. Seems kind of crazy. So I guess we'll see if Politico drops something else today and what the governor decides to do, or the lieutenant governor decides to do. So. All right, everybody. I will, it's like we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. We appreciate it. Of course, this stream and it's brought to you by MyPillow, mypillow.com/LFS6B. If you're going to shop at MyPillow, we appreciate it if you use our promo code at checkout. And of course, we will reward you for doing so with one of our shirts over at livefromstudio6b.com, which if you haven't been over there, stop by. There's always new stuff dropping. There's some great stuff over there. This, of course, right now is obviously free this month with the MyPillow shirt. All you have to do is send in your MyPillow receipt to lfs6b@yahoo.com. lfs6b@yahoo.com. Send in your receipt showing that you used our code. And you can get that shirt. But there's great stuff over there. I think I always say this. I think people don't realize how much stuff we have on the site. If you go to all products, you can kind of see some stuff that I really haven't brought to your attention on the show. But good stuff over there. People didn't know we had candles, coffee, great shirts, sweatshirts, camo. I don't even have one of these. I got to get myself one of these. Camo sweatshirts. Trump shirts. All kinds of stuff over at livefromstudio6b.com. So go over there and check it out. We appreciate it. And I'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. live from Studio 6B. I don't believe we're covering anything, so it should be pretty much a regular show tonight. I think we're going to try to get Jesse Garcia, who is basically in charge of everything that goes on in Suffolk County, where President Trump just did his rally. Well, he did it in Uniondale, but obviously Suffolk County is the reddest part of Long Island. Jesse Garcia is in charge of that. We're going to try to get him on the show tonight to talk about. He spoke at President Trump's rally before the president took the stage. Odds makers tonight, 9:30 on a Friday night as well. And I believe a What Even Is That at 9 p.m. So an absolutely packed Friday night. 8 p.m. Real America's Voice, and of course right here on all socials. And again, if you can, hit the like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to all of our social channels, we appreciate when you do. Thanks for joining me here this morning. And I will see you tonight, 8 p.m. live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you then.